Thank you for tuning in. Joining me from Tallinn in Estonia is Noemi Poget. She is a Swiss national and has been a digital nomad for 5 years. But she's been taking it slow, and we will talk about this because she's only visited 4 countries in total over that period. Noemi is a life coach, and her business, Life Coaching OU, is registered in Estonia. Being a digital nomad gives her the possibility to live according to her own cadence, meeting new people from all walks of life, discovering other cultures, and also realizing how biased she is. And it's something, again, that we will talk about. She, however, doesn't like the fact that she's not able to go for a coffee with some friends because she's not in the same place as them. I understand that completely. Hello, Noemi. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, Laurent. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. A different experience. You're a slow nomad. That's what they call it.
Indeed.
But when we prepared this podcast, I asked you several questions, and one of them it was like, why did you become a digital nomad? And you said that you became a digital nomad because you were fleeing something. Can you tell us more?
Yes, so that's the deep reason why I became a
Mm,
digital nomad. I didn't plan it. There was a um, superficial or logical, rational reason that was that I had decided to take a break from my job as a paramedic, and I thought I would just do something else for a while and then decide if I wanted to continue with that job or not. And that's when I realized that there was a country on the map that is called Finland. And I thought, well, this is interesting. I've never been there. They speak a language that is not Indo European, and I'm really interested in languages. I had already learned Indo-European languages so far, so I thought, well, let's see what it's like, and let's go there up to the north. I don't like the cold, but it doesn't matter. Let's see what it's like. And then I realized, so it gave me the possibility, first of all, to be far away from my home country, Switzerland, to have time and space. There are not too many people in Finland, so you have space. And this time and space, I needed it to reflect on my life, on events that had happened relatively recently before I left. And I needed time to organize this in my mind, to process this experience of, well, I had gained understanding about my own story.
mm.
I had access new memories that I hadn't had access to before, right before I left Switzerland, and I needed time to process this. And then once I, and I also on the superficial level, there was this thing that I have always loved traveling, and I had this feeling for adventure. When I was a kid, I was reading so many books about people traveling the world, and I wanted to discover. So it was like a combination of running away from the past and being attracted to an adventurous life that I had not really given myself permission to live so far. And when I realized that it was possible, and many things happened in between, but maybe we can talk about this later. But I just realized that once I passed the stage of running away from something, I entered the stage of, wow, discovering not only myself,
Mm.
but a completely different lifestyle that I had never dreamt of and that I really, really love. And I will never go back, that's for sure.
It's you make the difference between what you call like the real why, which is you became a digital nomad because you ran away from something, a past trauma, whatever it is, and the fancy why, what you call the fancy why. What's the difference? Why is it important for digital nomads to understand the difference?
It's really important because it means that you're honest with yourself and you
Mm,
acknowledge the real reason of your choice. And it's not the Instagrammable reason, like, yeah, I'm going to live under, I don't know, under the palm trees and everything is super nice and glamorous. But there is something deep within you that is pushing you to have that experience. And if you acknowledge this, it also gives sense. It helps you make sense of your own experience, and it helps you make more informed decision when you decide to move to the next place. You know why, you know what you're really looking for. And then even if the initial impulse was running away from something, once I understood that, every time I moved after that, I could sense within myself, okay, am I still running away from something, or is it a real choice based on my freedom, on my desire? And if you're in a I mean, if your life at that time requires that you make decisions based on running away, at least you are aware of it and you're not lying to
Mm,
yourself, you're not lying to others. And I think this is the most important thing in life, is to be able to be honest with ourselves, because this is how we grow. When we are aware of something, then we can work with it, we can work on it, and we can accept it, like stop fighting it or ignoring it, but just say, this is the experience that I need to make right now, and I know why I'm doing this. And then there can be other like fancy nice reasons around it, because it also has to be fun, of course. But being honest with yourself is the only way you can really grow and have more joy in life and become a better person for yourself and for the people around you.
mm. So become a digital nomad, but do it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think everybody else I've talked to, they all say the same thing differently, using different words, but they all have the same recommendation. Because being a digital nomad is not easy, actually. It's
No,
quite an
it's
adventure.
not.
But you are a slow nomad. So like I said, you didn't travel, like you've been there like what 4 years, 5 years, a nomad for 5 years. Many nomads would have traveled like 10 countries per year. But
Yeah.
for you, it's kind of like one country per year, more or less. Why is that? Why not traveling faster?
I would say for the first part of the journey, it's precisely because I was running away and I was looking for a
Mm,
place where I would feel safe and where I would have time. And because I needed this time to process all this recent experience. So that was my main focus. I hadn't realized yet that I had become a digital nomad.
right.
It happened to me, but I wasn't aware of it at that time. So I stayed in Finland for a long time. Um, I guess part of it is also due to the quality of the country, that there is something in the way the country is built, the way it runs, and the energy there that tends to make people stay there for a long time. I met people who told me, yeah, I just came for an Erasmus and I've been here for 12 years. I was like, oh my God, okay, I don't want this to happen to me, but well, it can be explained partly because of how the country is. Um, but I think I enjoy the deep experience. It's the same in my work. I really enjoy working over a long period of time with my clients, because I think that's where you get the maximum of learning and transformation. So staying for a while in a country gives me the opportunity to really meet local people, understand the culture, feel the energy. And then in addition to that, there was COVID in between. So, well, but
Right.
I think
Yes.
I'm one of the people who traveled a lot during COVID. I had to
Mm,
go back to Switzerland for various reasons and things like that. So I did like short incursions away abroad. But the main reason is really that I enjoy this getting to know the place where I'm staying for real, understanding more the culture, the roots, what matters to people, and also having friends where not only digital nomads like me who will just say hi and you'll spend some time together for, I don't know, a few days or a few weeks, but when you get friends with local people, then your relationship to the country becomes different. It becomes a part of your life. It's not just like a place that you visit, but it's a place that becomes really meaningful in your heart. And that happens for me more with time. Once I've passed like the first excitement of being in a new place and doing all the tourist things and exploring and meeting with expats and all this exciting stuff, then there is something that is more calm, where I get to stay for a while and say, this is my home for a while. This is where I live.
Right.
This is where I belong for a moment.
Right. And you can have coffees with people who are in the
Yes,
same
I
place as
can.
you. Is that difficult for you? Is it the most difficult part for you, not being able to meet friends whenever you want, at least in person?
Yes, yeah. I really enjoy the fact like of texting someone and say, "Hey, are you around? Do you want to go for a coffee? Let's meet in
Mm.
half an hour." And this I can find it again when I stay long enough in a place. But that's definitely what I miss the most, my friends. And now I have friends all over the place, so it's that's why it's also like an endless. Once you've started on this journey, you can never. Oh yeah, everything can change, but at least for me, I have this impulse that I want to go and see the friends that I've made again. So I have to visit all these countries again, and then I want to keep exploring it. So it's more and more coffees in perspective.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying that because it's the same for me. Although I don't consider myself a digital nomad. I'm more of a remote worker, but having lived like 20 years, 23 years now abroad outside of France. What's one thing that is very difficult is like you make friends and then they will leave or you will leave and you start a new life in another country. But what is interesting is that you have friends everywhere now. So I'm supposed to travel to Rwanda very soon for work. And the first thing I did is that I went online on LinkedIn and I looked if I knew people in Rwanda. And I have I have like five acquaintances in Rwanda. But I think all of them from Southeast Asia. So I am going to contact them and say, hey, I'm going to be in Rwanda. It will be so fun. It will be so fun if I can at least talk to one of them. Because every time I love those encounters. We used to get together before now for a while. Just only maybe for one evening, we'll get again together and we just start the conversation where we left it, basically.
Yeah.
basically. Are there other like well we mentioned like one of the most difficult things for you is the community, making friends. Do you face other challenges being a
So I
digital
would say
nomad?
it's not difficult for me to make friends. It's more this the spontaneity that you can have when you stay, like, if you've always lived in the same city, then you just know you can
Mm,
call that person and yeah, okay, let's do something together. Making friends for me is not difficult, but it's sometimes indeed what's difficult is to accept that people come and go, that I come and go. I've made this decision. I've chosen this life. No one forced me. So I think it's part of the of learning how to love. In fact, it's like, to
mm.
if I really love you, I have to love your freedom and then receive this in return as well. So that is, I think it's a beautiful thing to learn. But yes, sometimes it's a bit painful. It can your heart can suffer a little bit,
Yeah.
but other than that, I think for me there's nothing that's really annoying or difficult. Yes, there is the admin aspect of things where you need to register to understand how things work, to do the paperwork and all that. It's something that I have learned to be much more relaxed with, like coming from Switzerland, where we have 1 million insurances for literally everything, and the bureaucracy is very heavy. And I've discovered that in other countries, it works in a different way that is much easier. And I have also discovered that it's not like you're not going to be instantaneously destroyed if you don't have the exact right insurance. Of course, it's wiser and better if you plan, if you think of all those things a little bit in advance, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like I thought, oh, if I don't have all the paperwork perfect, then I'm doomed. Like the catastrophe is going to happen, and
Mm.
no, it doesn't. You learn and you ask questions. Um, I think the easiest to deal with this is to ask other people who have arrived before you. How did you do this? What is the most simple way to do that? And to do that, you need to be able to connect with people, and usually in person rather than online. It's more efficient. Someone can even walk with you to the office in case, I don't know, if it's a country you don't speak the language at all. You need your local support, and for that you need to be able to connect with people. So I think if for someone who feels maybe a little bit uncomfortable or awkward going to talk to people you don't know, then that's probably the most important thing to practice and become comfortable with, and all the rest will just like naturally follow from that.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Something else you mentioned, well, I talked about it in the introduction, about more of the positive aspect of being a nomad. You know, like I said, you talk about people, meeting new people, understanding, discovering new cultures, but you also said that it really helps you to understand how biased you were. Can you explain that?
Yes, well, that was a beautiful and also very triggering discovery. So
Mm,
I always thought that I am Noémie and I come from Geneva, where there's like more than 40% of the population comes from abroad. So I'm used to other cultures. I'm super open-minded and I'm generous and blah, 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 which I am. It's true. But then when I arrived in Finland and I went to the Finnish language class, I was with all these other people from all over the world, from who were coming from for very different reasons, because they had a partner in Finland, because they had a job in Finland, because they were asking for asylum, many different reasons. And I was like, wow, I realized I was hearing my ego telling me things like, oh, but yeah, this person, oh, they come from that country and they said that, and blah blah blah, in their culture it's like this. And I thought, whoa, it's awful. Like, so this is what happens in the mind of someone who's relatively open-minded. So I'm just like, I don't even want to think about what happens in the mind of someone who didn't grow up in the environment I grew up in terms of diversity, because it must be like really scary.
so what you're saying is that
So
you had preconceived ideas of
yes,
other cultures.
a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
preconceived ideas about other cultures, that I thought I knew what that culture is just because I once met someone from that country.
yeah.
Or I could hear my parents literally.
Mm,
I could remember conversations at home, and these people are like this, these people are like that, and I was like, wow, I'm so condescending. I think I know everything. I think I know why. Like, I think I know what are the motivation for someone to ask for asylum. I think I know what it's like to be an asylum seeker. Well, I have no idea. It's not my experience. I know nothing. So I thought, okay, now I'll just shut up and listen and observe, and just realize how I have been conditioned, and also how much I have accepted that conditioning. And it's normal. I think it's a really natural thing that happens, and that's why traveling is the best teacher in life, because you
mm.
don't get to see your own bias until you go to a different environment. And if you're not a digital nomad and you just want to test this, there's a great thing you can do. You go on LinkedIn and you just type a random title, and you start looking at the names of the people who have this title, and just listen to what your mind says. What? Or so, but she looks like this and she's the
Mm.
CEO of that, or what, with this name he must be coming from that country, how come he's getting this kind of job? And it's really awful. It's like the garbage of your brain, but at least you get to discover it and get rid of it.
It resonates with me what you're saying, because one thing of living abroad is that it has given me perspective,
Mhm.
a different perspective on life and the world and people. And that's why I'm very happy to go to Rwanda again. I mentioned that because I've never been to Africa, and I know Rwanda is one of the best countries in Africa, but I'm really looking forward to it because I really want to get to understand a bit more this continent and meet new people and yeah, broaden my perspective once more. It's really cool. What's your plan moving forward? Are you gonna stay in Estonia for long?
I think so. I
Mm,
think Estonia. So after these 5 years moving around, running away, I I I feel that I have kind of come back home. Like I've come back to a time in my life where I need to have roots somewhere and a place where I can say, this is my home. This is where I feel good. This is where I am myself. This is where my belongings are. This is where my papers are. This is where my business is. Because I had this all over the world. I had a bag in a friend's cupboard here, and then my papers there, and then myself in another place, and then my business in another place. So I feel that now is the time for me to have everything in the same place, and Estonia is the right place for me at the moment. So it's going to be, let's say, my home and my base camp, but I will keep traveling, that's for
mhm.
sure, because of all these friends that I have to meet. I have a
Yeah, it's a good
massive
reason.
list massive list of places where to go and have coffee with a friend. But in the coming months there will be Finland, Italy, Switzerland, France, UK. And then I don't know, I would love to go back to Japan. And I also
Mm,
would love to go to places that I haven't visited yet. And I just have an anecdote about Rwanda, because when I was working as a paramedic, I once had a patient who we were transferring him from one hospital to another. And he was just coming back from Rwanda, and he was telling me, well, it's the Switzerland of Africa. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, I didn't know that. And again, it was that thing again, about the bias. My brain was stuck back in the atrocities of I don't know how
Yeah.
many years ago, and I stayed there, and I was like, okay, it's interesting to meet people who actually travel and know what the world is for real today. So yes, plenty of places that I would like to discover and visit again along the.
Amazing. And so while you are so Estonia is your home base where you're going to spend most of your time. Uh, so maybe moving more into like a life of remote worker, a bit like me, or continuing traveling. But when you travel, you will still work. Yes.
Yes, yes,
So
yeah.
how do you balance that, the work and the travel?
It's a difficult question because it's become a lifestyle, so I don't even know how I do
Mm,
it. No, but I think um, as a remote worker, if as a remote worker, before you start traveling, you have a healthy work-life balance, and I don't like this word because it means that when you're at work, you're dead, and then the rest is life. But anyway,
yeah.
for the sake of convenience, let's use it. If you have a healthy work-life balance, you will keep this as you travel, meaning that you will organize your time probably in a different way because you're in a different place. Maybe there's a different climate, different like habits of, I don't know, when you eat or when you go to the office, if you still go to the office in the new country, or so you'll have to adjust, but there will still be these moments that you have for yourself and these moments that you give your attention to work. And it's not more difficult to organize when you travel than when you're a remote worker. Maybe it requires, I don't know, I was about to say it requires a little more discipline, but maybe it requires a little more discipline in the sense that when you decide, okay, I'm going for 3 days to explore the country, then do it
Mhm.
for real. Like don't take work with you if you decide that you take 3 or 4 days to explore the place where you live, because I think that's also the point, is to explore the place where we live. Then really commit to that and give your full attention to it. But other than that, it just depends on what's your habit right now. And if you see that you're working 24/7 and you're really stressed, then whether you're in your home country or traveling, it's going to be the same. And you need to address this first, because otherwise you won't. Well, in general, it's gonna just make your life a nightmare. But when you travel, it's really going to deprive you of the experience of the travel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard before. Again, using different words, but it's really finding the right combination between the travel, because it is at the heart of being a digital nomad, and the work, because well, you need the money to sustain your life, and so prioritize them when needed. But like you said, maybe take 3 days just to explore the city where you are, or the countryside, and then go back to your work. Excellent.
And don't work too much. That's super important in life in general.
Yes, yes. Well, it's not. Can you be as a digital nomad? Can you be like working like an office worker anyway, 9 to 5?
No, well, first of all, if you've chosen this life, it's precisely not to have the nine to
Yeah,
five, but it's also not to turn the 9 to 5 into a 6 to 11 in the
yeah. 6 a.m.
evening.
to 11 p.m. Yeah,
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 exactly. That's not the
yeah.
point.
It's a great point. Yes, indeed. All right. Let's talk a little bit about insurance, because you are a medical for nomad client.
Mhm.
And I want to address that, of course, because this podcast is sponsored by Medical for Nomads. Why did you choose to Medical for Nomads?
Because it was clear, simple. It offered me what I was looking for, and it was friendly. And coming from
Mm,
Switzerland, like the health insurance in Switzerland is the favorite topic of conversation. Like you can talk to anyone about their health insurance and they'll go on for hours because it's one of the main concerns and we're always complaining about it and it's complicated and it's this and it's that. So when I discovered that, I'm like, oh, I can have a really good health insurance. I understand how it works. They are supportive, they are friendly, it's flexible, and they understand my lifestyle. I was like, okay, I will not think and not think any further. This I just take this one
mm,
because it's what I need.
which is really, really important. Have you made any claim so far?
No, no, no. So my
Good.
okay. So my intention is obviously not to use it, but it's good. It's good to have one.
Just
So
in
I just
case.
voila,
Yeah,
just in case. But
yeah,
no, I don't want to use it. So I cannot say. But I'm sure, like from the experience that I've had in registering and different questions that I could ask them, I got really good support from them. So I'm sure if ever someone has to claim anything, I'm sure it works very, very well.
yeah. No, it does. It does. Of course, I have to say that. But more importantly, it's really, really critical that you guys get a proper medical insurance, because shit can happen. All right. So we're getting close to the end of this podcast. I have one more question for you. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to tell your fellow digital nomads, or aspiring digital nomads?
Do it. Yes. It's the best experience you can have. Sometimes it's hard, but it's the greatest way to learn about yourself, about others,
Mm,
about life, about love, about your business, about what you really want in life. So if you have a doubt and you're considering, yeah, I would like to do that, but I'm not sure, give yourself permission to do it. Like it's now. Life is now. It's happening now. So if you think about this, try it. If you don't like it, you can always go back home, but at least try it. And if you're already a digital nomad, don't work too much. Enjoy the experience. Find a way to trust that it works, that the business works, that things are in your favor all the time, and enjoy where you are and the people that you meet, and just be absorbed in that.
I can hear the life coach in you talking right now. But these are great recommendations. Thank you, Noemi. Just one more question: how can people contact you if they want to, become friends with you and have a virtual, no, a face-to-face coffee?
Yeah, they can also have virtual coffee. I'm a great fan of coffee, whether it's virtual or in person. The best way is probably on LinkedIn. Yep, LinkedIn. My name, Noemi Poget, life coaching, and you will find me there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much again, Noemi, for your time today.
Thank you, Laurent. It was a pleasure.
Cool. Well, Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about digital nomadism. Let us know if you have any questions or comments about this show. We love hearing from our audience. In the meantime, take care no matter where you are. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.